Hello, I'm Michael Reed, Vedic astrologer with over 20 years of experience in the astrological field. If you're interested in scheduling an astrological consultation, you can do so with me through the Astrological Services page, which you will see linked above, or you can schedule with Levi, who's my very special guest for this particular discussion. Information on Levi's services is at his website, which you will see linked in the text description below. In addition to that, I have two courses, one that is ongoing and another one which starts in August. For information on either or both of those courses, you can please follow the link which you'll see above in this video.
Here we have a 5 planetary conjunction in the first house.
And so what avasthas are being created there for the viewers?
Yes,
Yeah.
we have a lot of stuff going on here. First of all, Saturn is starving Venus. Let's target Venus first, because Venus, this is a woman's horoscope. Venus is a female planet. It's going to be important in terms of relationships. We see, first of all, that it's debilitated. It's in a beta avastha. It's starved by Saturn. It's starved by the sun, right? It's in the middle of these two. It's ashamed also by both because of Rahu's conjunction there. But it also has some help from an exalted Mercury, right? So here we have a lot of avasthas going on. We have Mercury in exaltation. We have Venus in debilitation. We have Venus being starved by Saturn. We have Venus being ashamed by Saturn and Rahu, by Rahu and the sun. And we have Venus being delighted by Mercury. So what to do with that? You know, you can say, all right, okay, Mercury is exalted, so it's going to be a very capable person, clearly. You know, on the first house in Virgo, Rahu in the first house also explodes things, making a lot of things bigger in terms of the life path. So we can see that the life path has a lot of shame to it as well. There's a lot of potential, a lot of skill, a lot of intelligence. Is an extremely intelligent individual. A lot of ego battles, Sun-Saturn conjunction. We have the Sun Rahu, has no idea who she is in the first half of life, as you know, especially before Rahu maturization and so on. We have the relationship planet and also the ninth lord, Venus, being ashamed. We have the first lord, Mercury, is also ashamed by all these planets. It's ashamed by Rahu Sun and Rahu Saturn. It's also starved by Saturn, right? We have the fifth lord, which is Saturn, you know, starved by the sun, also delighted by Venus, but also ashamed by Rahu and the sun, and also helped by Mercury, right? Mercury is a friend towards Saturn. It's going to help them. But we have the first, fifth, and ninth lords, the self planets, the self houses, the house that relate to Dharma, we say, our nature, being ashamed in the first house. So you can imagine that there's going to be a lot of actions leading to shame in this person, especially in, let's say, in the first half of life. Mm-hmm. And of course, these planets all rule 2 houses, right? Except for the sun. Saturn's going to rule the 5th and the 6th, and Venus is ruling the 2nd and the 9th, and so on. So a lot of areas in life under that influence. Now, does it mean that all areas are going to be like children, the marriage, her work, and everything is going to be equally experienced? Shame is going to be experienced in all areas of her life, or where can we see where that shame will be experienced the most? Because of all this shame going on, the road, the life path has been very bumpy, and have been a lot of difficult choices to make, and confusion in respect to the life path. Confusion is, where am I going, right? Even though there's an immense skill and intelligence behind this consciousness of this person. If you go to this person, like let's say you don't know anything about astrology, about anything, but you know this, you see this, you read it, and you say to the person, I know for 100% fact that relationships have been very challenging in your life. Then the person would say, that's absolutely correct. Mm-hmm. If we implement this a little further, let's look at the Navamsa chart for relationships. Yeah, mm-hmm. Let's take Venus, because Venus is, of course, the Karaka, or the important planet in the Navamsa as the Karaka for relationships. So we see that Venus in the Rashi chart has this left red here is the shame. Venus is ashamed by the sun. Venus is also kshobita. It's also agitated by the sun. It's also starved by the moon. Moon is giving its 9th aspect here, right? So it's going to give quite some of its strength, half of its strength. It's going to withdraw that, take that from Venus. because the moon is inimical towards Venus.
Mhm.
So Venus has starvation to it as well. It's also luckily held by Mercury. This is like important, right? Mercury being the friend of Venus in exaltation. Mercury is also the ruler of that first house. So it's ruling that all these star planets. So it's a help. So we have a good aspect here, 543 points of Shadbala that Mercury gives to Venus. I mean, this is really important, right? If you look at how important this Mercury is, Saturn is shaming that Venus quite severely. And then, of course, also starving it. Starvation, agitation, relationships, the Karaka, the ninth lord, also in terms of her dharma, in terms of perhaps teachers, in terms of her parents as a collective, a lot of difficult challenges. And this is in fact all happening very clearly. Let's look at Navamsa, because this is showing the marriage, right? Here we see that Venus is conjunct the sun. So we said that there's a Kupi Avastha, right? When a planet is with the sun. Here we also see in the Shobhita, we see that any planet that is with the sun in any Varga will suffer agitation. So we see that in terms of the life path, in terms of the marriage. When this person hasn't been married before, we see that there's going to be agitation or stressing situation, because Venus is with the sun in that Varga. The sun is exalted, so it's a very strong sun, but Venus is going to suffer on account of that. Venus is not conjunct Saturn or anything, but the fact that the sun is also a malefic, right? So the shame is also going to be felt there. Mm-hmm. Even though we see that technically it's the Kshobhita Avastha, but of course sun is a noble planet, so it's going to agitate, it's going to separate you from things, because your path is going to show you where to go, like because your soul needs to evolve in a certain direction. It's going to create this incompatibility or frustration about certain things that you might think you want or might think you are good for you and on the path, but sun is going to say no, especially with an exalted sun there. It's going to say, no, I'm going to go my way. And the person is going to make choices that prevent her from feeling fulfilled in relationship life because of that conjunction. If we look at the Saptamsha chart, which can also, of course, is important for relationship, but let's also consider children here. We see again that Venus is conjunct the sun. So there's going to be some frustration, agitation there. And this is also exactly what has happened. So I hope I have another example if you want to go into a little bit of Katy Perry's horoscope.
We have time for one more. Yeah, if you want to do that. Got about 10 minutes.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I generally don't go into celebrities' horoscopes that much, but I heard some interesting stuff about Katy Perry. So yeah, look at this first house here.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
And also the starvation to so many of her plants. This shows that a chart can be seriously afflicted, but there has to be some amazing Gemini yogas, but we see that sun is with Saturn in the first house of Mercury. It's a similar situation, but here we have the moon also. Moon is with Ketu and Saturn. So moon is starved by Ketu and Saturn, and also the sun adding to that. Also we have a Mercury moon conjunction, which is always a difficult combination for mental sanity, we could say. It can be difficult on an emotional and a mental level.
Mm-hmm. And moon would starve Mercury in that instance.
Oh yeah, definitely. She has an exalted Mars. Mars is like off the chart. Like it's an incredibly powerful Mars also in her third house, of course. And I know Katy Perry is like this superstar. I know she was, because someone told me, she was married to Russell Brand. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they were married for a very short a period of time, I think for a year or something. And he divorced her via text message or something. And I think he also posted a picture of her without her wearing makeup. So there was a lot of shame because it was a huge apparently it was like a huge drama. And so, of course, I thought, okay, there has to be something wrong with that first house or something. There has to be some shame indicated. And I checked it, and it was very clearly indicated that Moon, her ninth lord, which also, of course, connects to marriage, experiences that shame. I know too little of her life to really get into it, but we see a very challenged life path, right? Again, that first house.
Yes.
We have that solar quality, right? The sun in Scorpio. First of all, it's a Scorpio ascendant. We have the sun agitating all these planets. We have also a Saturn sun conjunction. So there's going to be a lot of ego battles and a lot of power struggles. And, in Scorpio, and Then the moon being with Ketu, which is already hiding, suppressing so much of who she truly is, because the moon is that also. It's the ninth lord of Dharma. It's an incredibly successful person. But from her chart, from looking at Lajittaadi Avasthas, we see that this is a person that is really looking for happiness. She's really, I'm not sure if she's really a happy person. If you look at the Avasthas, and perhaps she's been working on her on herself, in terms of what she needs. But we see that, for example, we see nice dignities. Okay, Jupiter is in debilitation here, but I think it's in its own sign in Navamsa. We have an exalted Jupiter, a great friend Sun, a friend Moon. The Deeptaadi Avasthas are quite good in this horoscope. We can say, right, the planet is in good dignity. Oh, you must have a really great life. But of course, Michael, in practice, we see that horoscopes with great dignities can have often, more
exactly
problems going on. And so what is that all about? Okay, there's going to be nice circumstance. The situation is going to be great. I don't know, here we have the 10th Lord, for example, in the Great Friend's Dignity, which is, the 10th Lord is Leo or Scorpio ascendant, which is important. She becomes prominent. It's on her ascendant. It's also very closely conjunct Pluto, so a very Plutonian identity, like a core identity would be really infused by this Plutonian power, which is playing out for her, and then power struggles, and then the Sun-Saturn stuff. And so a lot of malefic force, strength to push through things, but also a lot of hiding, a lot of shame, a lot of testing things out, failing. And then if you look at her, yogas, the things that really show the combinations that really show success, especially the Jaimini Raja yogas, then we can have this, we see this extreme mix of yogas of what planets can actually do, what they can represent on a concrete and a material level, and also what they represent, what they show on the subjective level.
And I was just going to point out too, with that K2 in the first house, K2 first house placements always feel like they're being scrutinized all the time. And so with that amount of, shame and difficulty there in that first house, it would have been very difficult. And of course, relationships are going to be a challenge as a result, with the North Node in the 7th, with Rahu in the 7th.
Yes, I think, that's the whole thing. I avoid doing, I think it's interesting to look at celebrities' horoscope because of, it's, as you learn astrology and you learn yogas and, Jaimini Raja yogas and so on, you see, oh, wow, this is really working. Looking at from some perspective, some Parasha perspective, some Jaimini perspective, some other perspective, you can see like, wow, this is like really showing a lot of success. But then you'd never know what is really going on.
Exactly, because you're only seeing the surface story.
The surface, and also the stories that come out. It's also all, you don't know. It's like this whole Rahu Ketu blur around it.
Exactly. It's press. Yes, exactly.
So it shows that the person, great dignities, great yoga is not going to show your fulfillment. The Lajittaadi Avasthas really are the heart of Parashara. I mean, it really shows that the core, the essential thing, which is, are you happy or not? What is your strategy? Why are you going to attract this horrible relationship? And some people are so deep into the material realm, like in success and into the world, and they play such important roles on the collective level that it seems like often more difficult for them to find that inner peace.
Definitely.
Right.
I wanted to say thank you for coming on to the channel.
You're very welcome. Yeah, I hope I was clear enough.
You were. I mean, we had a very short period of time. I want to let the viewers know to really kind of try to fit all of this information in.
Mm-hmm.
So it creates a challenge in terms of teaching what ordinarily, I mean, myself, if I was trying to teach this concept to people, I would probably take a good 90 minutes and sometimes 2 classes in order to do it. So, to try to teach that to the viewer in a really short period of time, it's not always the easiest thing. So my suggestion would be, those of you who watch, just go back and rewatch it several times.
That's also the reason why I made this table, that people can really figure it out, and you'll see that it works. So the important thing is that the Deeptaadi Avasthas are going to qualify how we experience the Lajittaadi Avasthas, how we experience fulfillment or unfulfillment, shame or frustration in life, right? And because there's so many things that we can experience, there's so many areas in our lives, and when we look at the Rashi chart, we see the path of the body, the Deha. And that sets the whole chart up. This is where the calculations, this is the astronomical chart, this is where everything is being calculated. And then relative to the Vargas, it's going to play out in different quantity.
So Levi, do you want to tell people how to get in touch with you if they want to schedule a consultation?
Yes, I have a website. It's levicosijn.com. I also wrote a book, Astrology Explained, Ancient Principles for the Modern Mind, with my colleague, Navamsa. So you can schedule consultation via my website. I also do courses and so on.
Excellent. And do you have a YouTube channel so I can refer people to your YouTube channel?
Yes, that's also Levi Cosijn Astrology.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you,
and
Michael.
we'll have you on again sometime soon.
Thank you very much.
Okay, take care, everybody.